A selected group of humans are sent to a mysterious remote island in the middle of the ocean. These humans have somehow evolved into a new race of people known as the Talented. To the rest of the world, they are considered as their only hope in surviving the war between humanity and the alien monsters who have come to Earth to destroy all of mankind. These monsters are now commonly known as the enemies of humanity. The story begins in an unknown year, somewhere in the early 2000s. Our main protagonist is a boy named Nano Nakajima, who lives here on this island among the other talented human race. However, he was apparently born without any talents, and thus leading him to be an embarrassment to the rest of his family, who are quite the opposite. His father had ordered him to leave at once and was sent to this academy to eventually find out his talent, and so he is also far away from his family. This island seems to be some kind of training camp or school for all the talented people and is completely isolated from the rest of the world. The island doesn't receive any communication from the outside world, unless someone calls the teacher from the headquarters, which are the owners of the island and the task force to destroy enemies of humanity. Nakajima is an outcast and a subject of bullying in the class due to his lack of powers, and gets picked on by his peers. One day the teacher introduces two new students to the class, the first being a boy called Kayla Onodera, another, a crybaby bigmouth, named Ijima Mogo. The class brute demands Kayla to reveal what his talent is, but the teacher interrupts him and tells Mogo that his talent remains a secret. This makes Nakajima suspect that he must be very powerful, as those who like to keep their talents a secret normally have the best abilities in the class. After, a pink-haired girl walks in with a bubbly personality and introduces herself as Nana. She doesn't keep anything a secret at all, and immediately tells the other students what her power is, which is mind reading. But not only can she read minds, but she can also dig deep into people's mind and look at their past experiences and memories they had from a very long time ago. She explains how she's always listening to people's inner voices and likes to help those when they are overthinking too much. The teacher tells her to sit at the back of the class, and this happens to be the seat next to Nakajima. She immediately discovers through Nakajima's mind about the rest of the class looking down on him, as that's all he thinks about. He gets nervous when a beautiful girl like Nana sits down next to him and can't imagine how a girl that looks like her would want to even help him in any way, due to her reading his personality traits. She already wants to become friends with him. She starts to find out more about him using her powers and discovers more about Nakajima's past life memories before coming to the island, and comes to realize that his dad was a very proud millionaire who was disappointed in his son for not being useful in the family. Nana knows that Nakajima wants to do everything possible to win back his father's approval. As a way of keeping his father's respect, his father gave him the responsibility of looking after the family watch, and Nakajima promises to keep it safe. Nana also knows that Nakajima needs to get a chance to be the leader of the class, something his father will be proud about, but she knows he will never vote himself in. So Nana quickly volunteers for him to be the new class rep and points out all his best qualities. However, the two most popular students, Mogo and Seiya, also voted themselves in. An argument occurs on who will be the next class rep. At this moment, Kayla begins to stop all the arguing and proposes a duel match between the three to settle it instead. After school, Nana follows Nakajima home and asks if he would show her around the island, as she still feels very new to everything. As Nakajima walks her around, they talk about their past lives before coming to the island, and while talking, Nana nearly fell down, but Nakajima quickly saves her. She tells him that she felt some sort of entity push her away, and they both think it might be one of the enemies of humanity. Later at night, they're both walking back to their dormitories, and Nana brings up Nakajima's relationship with his father. This annoyed him, as they are his personal and private memories that he doesn't want to discuss with anyone. However, she continues to try and understand how he feels, but he gets upset with Nana for bringing up things that are personal to him. She still doesn't understand why it was a problem for picking him to be the class rep, since that way he can finally prove his leading abilities to his father, which is all he ever wanted. But Nakajima tells Nana that voting him in is pointless, since it's impossible for him to win as he doesn't possess any talent. The next day at school, Mogo the Fire Brute and Sai the Ice Wizard are ready to fight for the position to be the new class rep. They enter the battlefield and use a series of attacks against one another, until Sai uses ice magic to freeze his legs and wins against Mogo. This humiliates the Brute, making him extremely angry. So Mogo uses all his power to form a huge fireball and throws it at Sai. but it nearly hits the entire class, until Nakajima jumps in the way and stops the huge fire blast, thus revealing his hidden talent. It turns out that Nakajima's power is to nullify other people's talents, so he can stop another person's abilities. For some reason he kept this a secret, as he thinks it's useless compared to other people's powers. However, everyone is shocked by this and thanks Nakajima, and because of what he did, he became the new class representative. Nakajima decides that he should thank Nana for being his only friend in the class and the only person who stood up for him. So they both meet on a mountainside. They begin to talk about the enemies of humanity and the possibility that there was an infiltrator in the school, since these monsters could take any kind of form, even human forms. So even a student could very well be one of these monsters. It is at this moment that Nana's cute persona changes to a dark one, and she eats him off the cliff. Bewildered, Nakajima is holding onto a thin rope for dear life and asks her what is going on. This is when Nana reveals how she's actually a talentless student and isn't part of their talented race. She's actually just a normal human being, and it turns out that the enemies of humanity that the talented students are training to fight against don't actually exist, and there are no giant monsters, which they read about in their textbooks. But in reality, the real enemies of humanity are in fact the talented beings. She explains to Nakajima that around 5 years ago, the normal humans got sick of these talented individuals which were rapidly increasing around the world. These new form of humans who could possess special powers stopped using them to fight crime and help humanity, but instead they were using these powers for their own benefits and financial gain, destroying the world we know, breaking all laws, and this eventually started a war between the talented humans and the normal humans. Humanity actually won the war, and after winning the war, the youngest talented beings who survived are now isolated on these remote islands, away from the real world. And from a young age they are all taught that they are being trained here to be Earth superheroes and must learn how to defeat the enemies of humanity. But that's something that the humans just made up, because in reality, they only put the talented people on these islands so that humans can remain in control of the world that we know. So they set up this secret operation, which is to eliminate the talented beings before they can master their supernatural abilities. For this, they need to send a regular human onto the island to figure out their abilities and then assassinate them, kind of like a Mugus. The infiltrator they sent this time is Nana, and even though she's just an ordinary human with no powers, she actually has superior intelligence and is a great judge of character. So together with her incredibly good deductive abilities and high IQ, she can easily make the other students believe that she has the talent to read other people's minds, and that way she could blend in with the talented beings. Her mission, given by the human headquarters, is to find out these talented people's powers and eliminate as many of them as possible. Her first target was Nakajima, but he's now been eliminated, so now she must go on and get the others. The next day, the class heads down to the lake, and here Nana gets to witness the true strength of Sai's freezing abilities when he freezes the entire lake within seconds. Nana notices how thick the ice was and can conclude that it will take at least 5 days for it all to completely melt. Later on in class, Nana sits with Sai and gets some more information about his talent. But meanwhile Mago is bullying another student. Mogo goes in to punch the victim, but unexpectedly gets knocked down. This happens to be Shibusawa's doing, another talented student who can manipulate time. Sai talks to Nana about Shibusawa's abilities and how he might just be the most powerful one in the entire class, as Shibusawa can actually stop and go back and forth through time and change the future of certain scenarios. Upon hearing this, Nana marks him as her next target, as he seems too up and can ruin her ultimate goal of eliminating every talented person on the island. So with that being said, Nana meets up with Shibusawa for lunch and puts on a cute little act that she has a crush on him, only to acquire more information about his powers. She wants to know of all of his limitations and weaknesses. She manages to discover that he can only go back in time for a maximum of 24 hours. He could also go back for more time as he travels in the past, but doing this will make him incredibly tired. Nana devises a plan on how to kill Shibusawa, but at this moment, the mysterious white-haired student, a new boy who also joined on the same day as Nana, named Kaiuya and whose talent still remains a secret, joins in on their conversation and seemingly interrogates Nana about Nakajima. Kaiuya seems interested and concerned about his sudden disappearance. However, Nana pushes the narrative away from herself by calling Kaiuya an enemy of humanity for being the one who's not revealing his powers. and Shibuya ignorantly takes Nana's side as he seems to like her. So Kayuya just walks away to avoid even more suspicion. After the interaction with Kayuya, Shibuya now seems worried about the Nakajima's situation and wants to discover more about Nakajima's sudden disappearance as well. And he tells Nana that he will help to try and find her friend. However, not knowing that this will lead to his ultimate demise, as Nana was able to send him to the exact moment in time the lake was just being frozen by Seiya and thus trapping him under the lake, which will be frozen for at least 5 days. So say goodbye to my man Shibuya. Nana has now eliminated 2 targets. But her only problem was the new boy Kayuya, who's already starting to suspect Nana and already has some kind of idea of what's going on here. It turns out that they might be the same in some ways, or he might be even smarter. But she still needs to find out his real talent. So she takes it upon herself to do any means necessary to reveal Kayuya's powers so that she can figure out a way to dispose of him as soon as possible. She needs to know more about him. So she begins to follow him around school. By doing this, she discovers he had been feeding a kitten in the janitor's shed, and he always buys a box of milk, which he heats up and feeds it to the stray cat every day at lunch. Later on, Nana approaches him, again under the context of wanting to be his friend, and so he invites her into his room, which seems to look more like a library instead of a normal boy's bedroom. However, he does leave Nana a lot of different clues, which she can use to start understanding his secret power. After looking around his room, she deducts that one of Kayuya's weaknesses was that he has no sense of smell, as he seems to keep labels on all his food and groceries, and these labels also have the expiry dates on them. So she can also predict that Kayuya can't see color, and his vision is permanently in black and white. After some brief deduction, the two of them start playing video games together, and he reveals that he has a younger sister, who was also a talented one and was sent to this island. However, he never heard from her ever again, so his goal on the island, other than studying the enemies of humanity, is to also find out what happened to his younger sister, and he thinks that whatever happened to Nakajima will lead him to finding out the answers. Kayuya asks Nana to accompany him over to Nakajima's crime scene and also interrogates her once again. She doesn't understand why he's being so hostile, and she wants him to reveal more about himself since he's so mysterious, and she makes up an excuse that he's scaring her. So this time Nana asks him what his real talent is, but Kayuya gets the upper hand and begins to doubt if she is really talented and can read people's minds, since Kayuya's talent is all he's ever thinking about. But somehow, she still doesn't know what it is. But since Kayuya doesn't have enough evidence that she isn't talented, or any proof that she was involved in Nakajima's disappearance that night, he can't incriminate her yet, so he just lets it all go for now, and then asks Nana if they should become friends, and she agrees. The next day, Nana prepares a trap on Kayuya, after knowing his daily routines of feeding the cat during his lunch break, and she turns on the gas inside the shed. She does it in such a way that when he turns on the stove, the whole shed would explode, which would be a great way to reveal his talent. When Kayuya enters the shed, he can't smell anything and he turns on the stove so the whole shed explodes, and Kayuya is seen completely burned alive and on the floor. Pretending to be innocent, Nana approaches the burnt corpse of Kayuya and yells out to him, saying she will send for help, but to her surprise, a half-dead Kayuya grabs Nana's leg, which finally reveals his power, which is immortality. So no matter what anyone tries to do to him, killing him is impossible, and because she was the first to arrive to the scene, he now thinks she's the enemy of humanity. But right after, Kayuya admits he took things way too far, and he calms down and now has a different mindset, and thinks maybe Nana is really only trying to help him, and he comes back to realization, then apologizes to Nana, and says he hopes they can still be friends for now. Nana can't have Kayuya thinking of her as the main culprit, so she devises a plan to remove herself from suspicion. Later on that day, Nana ends up meeting a kind-hearted girl called Miss Shiru, who's a somewhat clumsy girl, but she's way too kind of a person. Her ability consists of healing anyone right on the spot, just by simply using her saliva. She gets closer with Miss Shiru by helping her with the class bullies, and they become really good friends. However, she only does this as she needs Miss Shiru for her next plan. During the night, Nana decides to stab her own back. After, Miss Shiru screams loudly, and Kayuya meets them at the scene of the crime. Nana, who had been stabbed, done this knowing that Miss Shiru would save her. When asked who done this to her, Nana tells them it was an enemy of humanity's doing, and that the enemies of humanity can also turn invisible. But after hearing her story, Kayuya still doesn't believe her, and already suspects that she may have stabbed herself. But once again, he tells himself that he's only guessing with his detective skills, and has no real hard evidence that Nana actually done this to herself. The next day during class, they conclude Nakajima was killed by an enemy of humanity, and therefore they need to select a new class rep. Nakajima gains the confidence of the class for being brave enough to face an enemy of humanity, and surviving one. So they decide to make her the new class leader. Her first command as the class leader was to order a specific student to find out more about the other students and start writing down everyone's abilities. Her brilliant excuse for this was that they need to prepare everyone for the upcoming attack and makes up a reason that the monsters are already on the island. However, this backfires when after school she runs into a boy called Tsunakichi, who shows her a photo of what's about to happen to them in the next few hours. He reveals how he has the power to see into the future and asks Nana to explain herself. He tells Nana that his photographs are from the future, and while he's dreaming, photos are being captured into 5 photographs at a time, and they will tell him the future, which is something that is 100% going to happen without a doubt, as his power never fails to tell the future. Tsunakichi has been taking photos ever since she arrived, and reveals how he knows about her killing Nakajima, and he also knows about her trapping Shibuyasawa, the teleport time travel boy under the lake. So, now knowing that he's going to be killed by Nana next, he decides to blackmail her by saying he is going to tell the others about her being the real enemy of humanity. However, in exchange for his silence, he asks if she will be his girlfriend, and then takes her back to his room. He makes her give him a massage and spend the night with him. At that moment she observes how his power works within the photos as he's dreaming, and she finds one picture that she doesn't want him to see, so she hides it away. The next day, when Tsunakichi wakes up, he realizes there are only 4 photos here, so one photograph is missing, since he can only take a maximum of 5 photos at a time, something that Nana didn't know about, and he blames her for taking it. He finds the photo in Nana's pocket, and the photo in question revealed how Tsunakichi actually won the fight between him and Nana stole the photo because she wanted him to feel like she was the one with all the power to get the upper hand on him. He tells her that no matter what, everything will happen exactly as he predicted in the photos, so the next day at 10 p.m., they both meet at the rendezvous in the shed. This is the exact time the photo took place, and to change the fate of the photos, she had some poisonous needles in her back pocket and threw them on the floor 5 minutes before he arrived. She then grabs the rope and everything happens as they did in the photos, but when he is about to take advantage of her, she falls on the floor, directly next to the needles, and uses them to attack Tsunakichi. After he's dying, she reveals that she hid the real 5th picture, and it turns out that the image in which she seemed like she was dead wasn't actually real, but it was a photo that had been taken by Nana herself, and she hid it on her as she knew he would find it, and then think that that's what really happened. She simply used a fake photo in order to deceive Tsunakichi, and the real photo that he took in his dreams was actually him dead on the floor, with Keiwa bursting through the door, which is going to happen any second now. Keiwa explains that he found out about them being together because Tsunakichi had been going around telling everyone that Nana was now his girlfriend, and he was acting very strange. Michiru thought Nana might have been in trouble, and this aroused Keiwa's interest, and together they inspected Tsunakichi's room. In there they found a photo of Nana, dead on the floor with Tsunakichi standing over her, and that's how they knew about the location they would be at, since Keiwa recognized the pea shed. Later on, Keiwa finds Nana back in Tsunakichi's room after he had passed away, so he confronts Nana about Tsunakichi's powers, as Keiwa knows that whatever happens in Tsunakichi's photos will 100% always come true, something that Tsunakichi constantly bragged about. But somehow, Nana is still alive. All of this led to Keiwa deducting that the photo was in fact a fake one, and had maybe been taken by Nana herself to manipulate Tsunakichi and make him lower his guard at a specific time, so Nana could win in the fight against him. But once again, Keiwa was only speculating all this inside his head, and still has no real evidence of this being true, and still has nothing to prove his theories right now. So once again he just lets her go. However, Keiwa does suspect Nana is playing everyone, and now needs to find proof that Nana is up to something, so he can tell the rest of the class. Everyone had left the PE shed, except for Michiru, who was still trying to bring Tsunakichi back to life with her healing powers. While doing so, she felt something under his jacket and takes it out just as the ominous-looking Nana enters the room. Michiru glimpses at the photograph of Tsunakichi's future vision of Nana pushing Nakajima off the cliff. However, the kind-hearted Michiru has too much admiration for Nana, and she believes it when Nana tells her that Tsukunishi cannot always predict the correct future, and that it might have only been one of his dreams, and the photograph is incorrect. The day of Tsukanishi's funeral is here and tensions are rising, as it has been told that the enemies of humanity are closing in on them. Keiwa demands that before they dispose of the body, he wants to do an autopsy, while Nana does everything she can to prevent it. Just as Keiwa is about to open the casket, it starts to open up from inside by Tsukanashi's corpse. This is when a quiet and usually absent boy in class steps in front and introduces himself as a necromancer. He tells the class his talent is to bring the dead back to life and even gain information of their death, and even use the corpse's powers if he wishes to do so. In a desperate attempt to stop all this, Nana announces that she can hear Tsukanashi's thoughts while he's a zombie, and he's in so much agony and wishes to rest in peace. It is then settled that they perform the more respectable approach of doing the autopsy. That same night, Nana trails Shinji, marking him as her next target since his talents in reanimating the dead is a big problem for her mission, as it could incriminate her if the people Shinji brings back are investigated by the necromancer. She discovers that Shinji has a relationship with Yuka, a girl in the class with superhuman strengths. She befriends both of them and comes to realize a bigger revelation, that Yuka is the actual necromancer, and Shinji is actually just a dead corpse and is only being reanimated by Yuka. Nana figures out Yuka's weaknesses and plans out how to eliminate her, and eventually gets her in a fragile position, and takes her poison needles and finishes her off. Nana sneaks up behind a girl called Habu in the forest and asks her where her friend Cory is. So Habu tells Nana that she got into a fight with Cory, and that she's back at the dormitory, knowing that Cory is not around. Nana uses this opportunity to prick Habu with a poison needle and takes her phone away, demanding Habu to give her the passcode to the phone, and if she gives her the code, she will in exchange give her the antidote. Habu then quickly tells her the password, but Nana just leaves her alone in the forest to die. After this, Nana finds her friend Kari's room and uses another poisonous needle to poison Kari's contact lenses. Later that day, Nana takes Keiwa, Mikuru, Seiya, and Magu into the forest to explain how she found out that Yuka was the real necromancer who was raising people from the dead, and she was the one who was reanimating Shinji's body as she fell in love with Shinji and wanted to be with him forever. Nana tells them that in the end, Yuka regretted doing this and then killed herself. Keiwa's suspicions in Nana are now greater than ever as Nana struggles to cover up the kills. The other classmates, especially the loyal Michiru, still refuse to believe it. In the dormitories, the group hears a scream. Running to Kari's room, they find her dead. As Keiwa investigates the scene, he finds that Cory was poisoned through her contact lenses. Mikuru mentions how Habu's talent was turning her saliva into poison. This makes Keiwa suspect Habu instead of Nana. After going through Kari's phone, Michiru tells Keiwa that Cory and Habu last spoke when they were in the forest with Nana. Convinced that Nana killed Cory, Keiwa tells some of their classmates that Nana is the culprit. After explaining his evidence against Nana, Keiwa begins to search Nana for Habu's phone as his main piece of evidence. After searching Nana and not finding the phone to prove his claims, Keiwa apologizes to Nana. Michiru yells at him for putting Nana through all these claims, and Nana tells the group that she can hear Habu's spirit voice, telling them not to suspect anyone ever again from the same classroom. Later that night, Michiru sees Nana guarding the dormitories at night on lookout duty. In her sweet manner, she offers to be on the lookout so Nana could rest. But she suddenly flipped a switch. An ominous look casts onto her face and she holds a blade to Nana, asking her what her real talent is, and apparently Michiru suspects she's on the island for other reasons. This takes Nana off guard, but she quickly gets in and disarms her, wounding her hand. The next day, Nana takes Michiru to the cliff to confront her, knowing that that person isn't actually Michiru because she bandaged up her hand wound instead of just healing it with her power. Then right after, Mikuru shapeshifts into a man who introduces himself as Jin, and tells Nana that he used to go to this school. After he takes Nana to a secret cave, Jin offers Nana a coffee as he makes himself a cup. Nana reveals that he's actually been acting as the cat that Keiwa has been feeding during lunch, and that 5 years ago his classmates were at war with one another. However, Nana slips poison into the drink, making Jin drop dead. Or so Nana thought, dialing her phone to call the committee to report about Jin's death. Keiwa grabs a hold of her phone, who then transforms to Mikuru and also Seiya. As Nana realizes with horror that Jin can copy not only the appearance, but also the powers of whoever he wants on the spot. But Nana runs to escape the cave, so Jin shapeshifts into Mogo and throws a massive fireball to stop her. After stopping Nana, she falls down and is nearly knocked out. After, Jin goes on to ask Nana about her family situation as a way to build trust with her. And Nana opens up a bit more to Jin, and tells him about her parents dying as a talented person came into their house one night and robbed the place and also killed her parents. After the talk, Jin tells Nana he actually likes her, and he knows how it feels to be in her position, as he also eliminated everyone on the island many years back, and ever since then he hides in the cave. After, Jin warns Nana to be careful and lets her know that she might not be the only murderer on this island, as Jin has been investigating other students' intentions other than her. After, Nana wakes up in Mishira's real bed with her back fully healed. The sweethearted nature of Mishiro affects Nana to open up about her past, talking about her parents' death, which left Nana as an orphan at a very young age. After opening up, Nana looks closely and analyzes Mikuru, as she seems to be overly nice to her and thinks Mishiro is secretly trying to investigate her. She comes to realize that Mishiro must also have a dark side like everyone else does. Nana knows that she has to finish her day off one day, but right now she can't seem to find any reason to do so, so she lets her go. At Yuka's, Shinji, and Kairi's funeral, Kyoya requests to the teacher to let him talk to the higher UPS the next time they call the school, so he can explain everything that's going on, all while Nana sees Mishiro falling down due to the overuse of her powers. Later on, in Nana's room, Jin appears once again and tells Nana that he will give her phone back only in exchange for her opening up to him again. But suddenly Mishiro enters the room, making Jin transform back into the cat version of himself. Mishiro wants more answers as to why Nana thinks she's a bad person, and this is when Nana opens up about what type of child she was, and Nana explains to Mishiro how she snuck out of the window one night and forgot to lock it, causing a robber to break into their home, and that resulted in her parents' death. In the morning, Kyo shows the girls a new dead body. This is what Jin warned Nana about, as this time this death was not in Nana's hands, and Nana realizes that there is another murderer other than her. After they identify the dead body as a boy named Ryuji, Kyo starts investigating and begins to ask Mogo what he was doing the night before this, as Mogo's room is directly next to the victim. Mogo tells Kyo that he was giving all his friends a much-needed pep talk. After, Kyo asks Mogo's friends what all their talents are, and they start to reveal them to him. One has astral travel, another has voice mimicking, and the last is some kind of human magnet power. Lastly, Kyo then asks Ryuji's girlfriend, named Fuka, what her talent is as well. However, she warns them about her overpowered talent and says that it's best to take everyone outside first so she can demonstrate her ability. When outside, she explains how she can harness the elements of the earth and control them, such as the wind, which she uses to attack Kyoya. Finishing up outside, their teacher runs to Kyoya, telling him the higher EPS are on the phone. Back in the room, Nana and Mishiro are still investigating the crime scene when Nana notices Mishiro looking worried. Later on, Mishiro asks Nana to live with her and her parents after they graduate from the island. This causes Nana to get emotional, and she leaves the room. After receiving back her washed and cleaned uniform from Mikuru, Nana realizes that the poison bottle she left inside the pocket, which she intended to use against Jean, is missing from her pocket. Right after, Kyoya appears, and also their teacher, who informs Kyoya that someone from headquarters will be coming to the island. After being interrogated by Kyoya, Fuka pleads with Nana to help her avenge her boyfriend Ryuji's death. Later on, Nana reaches Mishira's room to find her poison bottle, until Jean appears with the poison and gives it to her. Jean tells Nana to check on Mishiro, but as she opens the door, she finds Mishiro unconscious in the bath. After a debate on whether or not to save a talented person's life and go against her ultimate mission, Nana picks her up and finally rushes to their teacher to ask for the doctor, but he tells her to ask Kyoya for help instead, as all the teachers have left the island. Kyoya gives Nana some medicine, and she rushes back to Mishira's side. Later that night, Fuka comes in and asks Nana if there are any developments in the case of her boyfriend Ryuji, but Nana tells her that Kyoya is taking care of it. Time passes, and this is when Mishiro wakes up and tells Nana how she healed a mysterious cat that came to her before going into the shower. In the forest, Jean catches and talks to Ryuji's killer, telling him to stop harming the animals and pets on the island. Meanwhile, the mysterious second killer is shown to have a meeting at the same place where Nana's mentors are. Mr. Soroka says he will go to inspect the island. Back on the island, Nana plays a game with Mishiro, and Nana takes this opportunity to find out Mikura's real intentions by asking her why she's so nice all the time, as she can't figure out why. Then Mishiro explains to Nana that she used to be bullied because of her powers, and she actually hated being a talented person at any point in her life. Until one day she healed a stray dog, and a girl from her school approached her to thank her for the kind-hearted and selfless act. Starting from then, the girl, whose name was Hitomi, defended her from all the school bullies and encouraged Mishiro to keep using her talents to help others in need. Michiru explains that Itomi had cancer and had died. She said that Itomi's friendship with her has left a long-lasting effect on her life, and that's why she's always open and kind and ready to help anyone with her powers, even though it will shorten her own lifespan. Then Nana leaves the room once again, and this upsets Michiru as she just wants to be friends with Nana. But Nana is constantly showing different emotions. When she leaves, Nana gets torn up between what to prioritize, her friendship with her beloved friend Michiru, or her mission at hand, which is destroying all talented beings. Just then, Jean sneaks into Nana's room again to give her information of Mikira's whereabouts, adding that she might be in danger. Jean knows how much Nana cares for her, but Michiru is just about to be attacked by the second killer. Nana's immediate response was to go and rescue her. On the way there, Nana gets a call from Mr. Soroka, the man from the Talentless Human Council headquarters, and is also Nana's boss. He said that he called to remind her of the mission and expects her to carry it out, not leaving any talented ones alive. At this moment, Nana seems to have a change of heart and decides that Michiru is still an enemy of humanity, and that she's not worth risking the entire mission. The scared Michiru tries, with vain attempts, to escape the killer. Just when the stab that could have ended her life reached her, Nana appears and shields her from it, taking the stab in the back. Nana reveals that Ruji's killer is Mago's friend, who can do astral travel, named Rentaro, who is still in his astral form, finishes off the weak Nana with more stabs, apparently finding delight in the murder with no intention other than getting high on it. Within the dormitories, Kalia finds Rentaro's physical body, as he and Nana had planned how to catch him earlier, which breaks his astral travel. With the astral form of Rentaro gone, Michiru rushes over to Nana's body, who is bleeding and is barely alive. Without second guessing, she starts healing her injuries despite Nana's protest for her to stop. Nana restored to perfect health and departed from her bloodied clothes and torn in places where she was stabbed. There are no traces of injury. She kneels in front of Mikira's body to try to listen for a heartbeat, but what she hears makes her break down in anguish. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you never miss a future video. And until next time guys,